We have some breaking news from the NFL where Jerry Jones promised something big, and he delivered this afternoon, acquiring defensive lineman Quinnen Williams from the New York Jets. That's the latest from our NFL insider Jonathan Jones. It's the second move of the day for the Cowboys after getting Logan Wilson from the Bengals this morning, and it's the second massive trade today for the Jets after trading Sauce Gardner to the Colts earlier in the day. They'll reportedly be getting a first-round pick in this trade for Quinnen Williams. And that means the Jets have 3 first-round picks in 2026 and 5 first-rounders over the next 2 seasons. All right, the NFL trade deadline is slowly approaching with all this stuff going down. We have the full squad here to talk about it. Ran Carthon, Pete Prisco, and of course our NFL insider Jonathan Jones. JJ, Jerry Jones said something big was coming, and Quinnen Williams is now a Dallas Cowboy. What more can you tell us about how all of this went down?
Boy, yeah, no, we started getting some word around the time of the Sauce Gardner trade, the first blockbuster of the day involving the New York Jets, that Quinnen Williams could get dealt. I was live on air with you, Jacqueline, when I was getting those texts, and I was like, oh, well, that'd be big. So been trying to chase that one down ever since then. You know, there's not that great of edge rush help that could be out there, that could be attained. What is the next best thing if you're not going to get someone screaming off the edge? Pushing the pocket, making the quarterback uncomfortable, making life easier on the guys on the outside. And so the Dallas Cowboys go out and get Quinnen Williams, who I just got a text from one AFC executive who said, yeah, a lot of these trades have surprised me. He said, I didn't think open for business meant Quinnen and Sauce. I think that's the sentiment around a lot of the league. Yeah, oh yeah, open for business, but all pros? That is who the Jets are sending out of town. We're going to get to the Jets, but this is big for the Dallas Cowboys. This is big for the Cowboys this year. At 3-5-1, you may think their season's over. Clearly, the Dallas Cowboys do not. And they're going to have Quinnen Williams under contract this year, next year, I think one more year after that as well. Of course, you'd probably reach a contract extension agreement at that point. Just an otherworldly trade deadline that should have been quiet and ho-hum up until last night. This is about as big as it gets in the NFL when we're talking about fireworks ahead of the 4 p.m. Eastern trade deadline.
Yeah, and this is a great move for the Dallas Cowboys, like JJ said. And when we were on earlier and we were talking about it, and we were talking about could they possibly go on the edge. And I said it wouldn't shock me if they went interior defensive line. And think about a pairing of Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams now. You got a big, strong, stout guy, Kenny Clark, and then you have the interior disruptor in Quinnen Williams that can also rush the passer, which is actually the quickest point to the quarterback is up the middle. And so that's a great pickup for them. But then if you're the Jets, and you mentioned they have 3 first-round draft picks in next year and then 2 the following year, and it just makes me think about our buddy Rick Spielman and his effect that he's having on that organization, who he's now with the Jets. In 3 different occasions in his career as GM with the Minnesota Vikings, he had multiple first-round picks, and that's how he helped build that roster. So you can kind of see the effect of Rick Spielman and the moves that he's made in the past and how they're coming to fruition with the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, look, the way teams look at it now, it's like if we're not in it, we're giving up these players and we're going to go get some young, cheap players. And you get a contract now in the NFL, it's prohibitive to your salary cap. And so why not trade them away and go get draft picks, which are younger players and cheaper players? It makes sense. And so I get it. The big thing in the equation is you better get them right.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get them right, you're not going to be working long. And so that's the thing. But the Jets, what do the Jets need most? A quarterback. So now you might end up being first overall pick anyways, but you're going to have the artillery, if you're not, to go get what you need to get. If there's a guy you want, say it's Fernando Mendoza from Indiana, and you want him, and he's your guy, now you almost can ensure yourself that you do get that guy. So I love what they've done. This has been a great day for the New York Jets, and everybody look at it and say, you trade away all pros, and well, first off, you know, Sauce Gardner hadn't played to that, I didn't think. And he's a good player. He hadn't played to get worth 2 first-round picks. And the other guy is a good player, a really good player. But to get younger and cheaper, you have to give up those guys.
And real quick off of that, Pete, you're saying if they're possibly going to have the top pick in the draft, those other 2 picks now allow you to surround that quarterback potentially with players, because they've spent resources on the offensive line to fix that part, and then now they can add defensive players and playmakers on the offense to help that young quarterback.
Or trade down or move around and get extra picks. You have so much versatility now. I love what they've done.
Okay, and JJ, you know the full details of all of this stuff, so kind of hit us with it. 2026 second-round pick, all the things that we're getting here, or they're getting for the Jets for Quinnen Williams in exchange.
So Quinnen Williams going to the Dallas Cowboys. The Jets are getting a 2026 second-round pick, a 2027 first-round pick, and former first-round defensive tackle Mozzie Smith, who has been a healthy scratch for most of the year with the Dallas Cowboys. So now the Jets have 2 1s, 2 2s this year, and they have 3 1s in 2027. And just to sort of add on top of what Pete and Ran are saying here, and just to be clear, they have enough to, sure, go draft a quarterback. They would have enough to draft a quarterback if they hadn't traded Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams today, right? Now, if you're sitting at 3rd overall, you certainly have enough to get to 1. It's beyond that. They have enough to go get any quarterback who's on a current NFL team who is not one of the top 6 guys in the NFL, right? If we're talking about the 8th, 9th, 10th best quarterback in the NFL, a team would have let that guy go for 3 1s, right, Ran? Right, Pete? Like, if he is not a perennial MVP candidate, we're not talking about Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Justin, we're not talking about those guys. They have enough. Forget Fernando Mendoza. Like, honestly, forget about it. You have enough to go get just about anybody you want. But what did it cost you? It cost you sending away 2 All-Pros and having a miserable season so far. And frankly, it's going to get worse on the field for the Jets.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility.
Who would it, like, where are you going? Where are you going?
But and also to that point, and I understand what JJ's saying, and I know where JJ is going with this. But in giving up 2 1s, 3 1s for that quarterback, whomever that quarterback is, the next key component is, have they paid him already? And are you inheriting the contract, or will it be solely on the Jets to now pay said quarterback $40+ million and give up the draft compensation? Just to me, it'll be a bit much instead of just drafting a young player.
See, and I think JJ drew the line, right? So the line is win with or win because of. And you would give up 2 1s to go get a win because of quarterback. You're not going to go give up 2 1s to get a win with quarterback. So I think there's a clear line there. So I can't see anybody that, I mean, are you going to, for example, if Brock Purdy were available, you're going to go give up 2 1s for Brock Purdy? I mean, JJ, who you have somebody in mind, so I'm trying to figure out where you're going with that one.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, when we woke up today, all of us, we didn't think that Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner were getting dealt. So, like, shame on us if we think that come March, there's nobody that the Jets could acquire who would actually be an effective quarterback. Let's also remember, the Jets have tried a number of avenues to go, and they've tried the draftable quarterbacks. It hasn't worked for them. And we also have to be completely honest and open with ourselves about how we've kind of poo-pooed a lot of these quarterbacks who are going to be in the draft. So if this is the year to go out and get your quarterback in the draft and he's not there, why are you spending this incredible capital? Use it on something else. Let's also remember there are a bunch of teams with multiple firsts in this upcoming year's draft as well. The LA Rams, who they're on a year-to-year proposition with Matthew Stafford. You have the Cleveland Browns as well. Who knows if Dylan Gabriel, if Shedeur Sanders, or someone else. So there's going to be competition out there. I'm just saying, just simply, that it sets up for the Jets to have greater optionality than any other team in the NFL.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. But we can go back in Jets history. In 2000, they had 4 first-round picks. 4. And it was arguably a draft that built the foundation for a team that it didn't win a Super Bowl, but it became a really good team. I mean, you had Sean Ellis and John Abraham and Chad Pennington and Anthony Beck was the 4th one. And then Lavernius Coles was also taken in the 2nd round. So that draft was loaded with guys, and it was the foundation of their football team for a long time. So I think that's what they're looking to do more than anything, is get a quarterback and build a foundation around him.
And we see it here, the Jets' top 5 picks from 2018 to 2022. And All of those guys are now on other teams. JJ, really quickly, I know Breece Hall is a big name that has been thrown out there as someone who could potentially be on the move. Do you think the Jets are done, or can we expect another blockbuster trade from this organization and getting more and more picks that they're just stacking up?
Yeah, no, fully appreciate the question. Why not? Why not? If the Jets have made very clear to everyone, if you meet our asking price, we will send you players. If they're going to send Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams away, they'll send a running back away, right, Pete? Like they'll send Jermaine Johnson. If you're going to meet their price, if you're going to exceed their price, yeah, sure. So why not? We got an hour and a half left before the deadline. They can. And again, I do want to emphasize this. This is going to be a bad Jets team for the second half of the season. Like, it was already rough. It's going to be bad. And so Aaron Glenn is going to face a very tall task of having to go into that locker room and explain to these guys, we're still attempting to win football games in 2025. That's going to be really hard. And some of this Jets, a lot of Jets fans are going to go through the stages of grief right now where, holy cow, can't believe that. You're going to look at the draft pick compensation coming back. You're going to say, oh, boy, we're loading up. And now you have to lock in for a half a season of what is going to be barely watchable football. So prepare yourself for that, because it is going to be bad.
It's been barely watchable with the guys that they had. JJ's right. It's only going to get worse, but it's been terrible the way it's been. And sometimes, if you're Aaron Glenn and these guys get traded away, it's for the future. And now you look around and you say, well, this pretty much tells me I'm going to be part of the future, because there were questions about that.
Yeah.
And if you're the head coach and you trade away these guys, I can go to the guy and say, hey, look, you traded away my players. Now I'm supposed to win with what I have? Nope, we're going to be a part of the rebuild. So that might actually benefit him. But this is a bad team, no matter if Quinnen Williams is there and Sauce Gardner's there. Breece Hall, I would trade him. Quincy Williams, by the way, the brother was rumored to be one of the guys was getting peddled. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets traded. JJ mentioned Jermaine Johnson. But you do have to have some players, and some of those guys are young. Yeah. So I mean, you look at like Garrett Wilson. You haven't heard his name, have you? No, not at all. You need some players, and young players make sense.
Yeah, and for me, and it goes back to the Sauce Gardner thing, and Jacqueline, we talked about it earlier. You value him, I'll put the air quotes in there, you value him so much, yet you hadn't paid him, right? You hadn't extended him to this point. But then I go back and I think about it, well, you extended Sauce Gardner, you extended Quinnen, and you moved on from those guys. So, yes, I believe that Breece Hall is expendable, like JJ said, if the right number is met. And so we'll see. We have an hour and a half before the deadline is over.
Should the Chiefs make a call?
The Chiefs should absolutely make a call.
The Chiefs should be on the. They should get him.
As should the Houston Texans.
Hurt again. He's banged up, and you know what? They should make a call.
The rich would get certainly.
Houston
richer.
Texans might be sellers. I mean, I don't think they're regularly be buyers.
But they're also in a situation now, like we talked about, having a young quarterback who's still on a rookie deal. And let's be honest, and you talk about it all the time, their backfield has been pretty
But they got a
average.
young kid, Woody Marks, that they need to be playing.
Yeah, but
we see that every.
Is he Breece Hall?
But you'd also have to pay. You'd also have to pay. No, but you have to pay
that's
Breece Hall too.
That's it. He's not Breece Hall.
Okay, just a question for Pete and Ran. We want you guys to grade the trade for both of these teams. So we'll start with the Cowboys side of it. Ran, what grade are you giving them?
I'll give them an A. I'll give them an A because they are acquiring an all-pro player that has produced at an all-pro level and can give them that interior pass rush that they desperately need. So I'll give them an A.
What about you, Pete?
I'll give them a B+. I'm not going to give them an A. Look,
Debbie Downer.
Well, I understand why they've been so desperate to stop the run, and getting another player on the interior of that defense matters. So I get it, but I'll give them a B+. I think that pick could end up being really high, by the way. So, I mean, are the Cowboys good right now? No. So that pick could be pretty good for the Jets.
Okay, and we see the trade details there. What about the Jets side of things, Pete? You're giving the Cowboys a B+. What about
I gave him an A+ for the Colts trade. I'm going to give him an A+ for this trade.
Okay.
I think when you're in that mode, you go get the draft picks. Get as many as you can. Just make sure you hit them. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I'll go A as well, and I'll second everything Pete said for once in my life. I don't know if that's a good thing.
I'm rubbing off on you, man. I'm rubbing off
That's
on
why
you.
I said I don't know if it's a good thing
No,
or a
that's a good
bad thing. But to Pete's point, everyone talks about it like it's this new revelation, and Pete's been around this thing the premise has always been draft, develop, re-sign. That's not anything new. That's not earth-shattering. But like Pete said, you have the picks. You now have to hit on them.
You know, he talks about it. Look, Rick Spielman used to sit in that seat. Look what I rubbed off on him. He's up there. They're making all kinds of deals with the Jets, right?
So now you want to take credit for Rick?
He learned that on Sundays in that green room. Are you kidding me?
Bless you, Rick.
Yeah. So, JJ, really quickly, we have, an hour and a half here until that 4 p.m. deadline. It felt like things were sort of slow, and then they picked up and got a little crazy. What are your expectations for the final stretch here?
I think that you'll see some small potatoes stuff, okay? And look, you need potatoes in your diet, okay? Get a little starch. That's important, all right? So we'll maybe saute it a little bit. So we'll see some other smaller items around the league. We're all still, I mean, if we haven't gotten enough, right, of the blockbusters, still waiting on the Jalen Waddle move and who is going to come through, okay? So the Buffalo Bills have not made a move. We know that they're interested in a wide receiver. The Pittsburgh Steelers interested in a wide receiver. And, of course, the Denver Broncos. We've been talking about them since the morning. So that's one we're still watching. Not guaranteeing Jalen Waddle will move, but that's the big one we're waiting for, as well as some of the big competing teams, right? The Patriots still haven't made a move for edge rusher or running back. The Chiefs may be in the market for a defensive tackle or a running back. The Chargers may be looking for an offensive lineman. The Giants still really haven't made a move, so we still have some time. There's plenty left to do.
JJ, Ran, Pete, we certainly appreciate it. All of the breaking news around the NFL trade deadline. It feels like it never ends, right? These are the trades that we've seen go down today. It all started with Dallas and getting Logan Wilson, and a full circle moment as it ends with Dallas for now, right? Getting Quinnen Williams from the Jets. We also saw Rashid Shaheed going to Seattle, Sauce Gardner, the other move that the Jets traded for 2 first-round picks going to the Colts, and then the Jags getting Jacoby Myers from Vegas.